like to make a clarification to the auditor's office of the intent of the motion that we passed, just in the way it was offered. And this is a great example. I wasn't in making it, one of the first and foremost things in making the motion is so the public has good information. I think that's important, the objectivity and transparency of where we are. I wasn't wanting to have the auditor's office spend a lot of time on hypothetical things. There is a petition process right now about potential annexation. An objective analysis of how that process works and where the city is in that process. You might mention there are other avenues, such as merger, but that's not being pursued. You could maybe mention that is an option for a municipality, but it's actually the annexation. The same way on the borrowing. You have lots of hypotheticals about borrowing, but there was actually some parameters of borrowing that were being proposed. Here's how that would work and how that might play out. Now, on the one hand, I wasn't seeking, very far afield hypotheticals. Also was not asking for a recommendation of, here's what the auditor's office says is the right choice. As we already see, there's a mix of choices already being pursued in terms of revenues, cuts, and things that, as you said, Madam Chair, I think quite correctly, my request for this assessment does not suggest that any process, working with a law firm on potential, the options of bankruptcy, working with the people that may sign petitions as towards an annexation, not suggesting that any of them is going to be, nor am I asking the auditor state to make a recommendation on any one path forward. So,
just tell us what that path looks like, I guess. I mean, what you have to go through with merger, what's the procedure for bankruptcy? What would you need to look at for enhancing revenues? What would you look at decreasing expenses? Those last two, I think, I'm not sure how much you can go to, on that, but certainly whatever you can do at the table. All right, I know that a couple of you have indicated that you have appointments after this, so I at least wanted to set the next meeting date. Given that we've given you quite a task, I don't have any strong feeling towards another meeting this month. I honestly don't. Given that I would look at July, I would like to see what the financials look like at the end of June.
We can email them to you.
Okay, but I'm just saying if we meet in July, I'd like to set the meeting at a date that would give you the opportunity to get the financials through June. So I would be thinking towards that full week of July, like the 6th through the 9th.
I don't think the city would be able to be closed in enough time for me to put together the packet and email it ahead of the meeting.
Okay. What about that week after, the 13th?
That's good. It'd
Probably,
be more like the 15th or 20th. I hate to interrupt.
No, I know. No.
I would say more towards the end of that week.
All right.
Like if you did like 16 or 20, 21.
Let's do it this because I'm looking at my calendar. What about the 16th of July at 1 o'clock? Or the next one I would have would be the 21st at 1.
I would probably say the 21st.
Okay.
That would give me enough time to put the packet together and to email it ahead of the meeting. Otherwise, I'll just be like printing it that morning.
Okay.
The 21st.
That sounds like it'll work with everyone else's? Okay. Right? Okay, great. That would be July 21st at 1 o'clock. Okay. We're on to public participation. I would, any of you that do have appointments, feel free to get up and just go. I definitely understand. All right, Mr. Martin I have 5 people who have signed up, and so that means 3 minutes.
Okay, briefly, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, first of all, I want to compliment Mr. Frost on the subjective assessment. I think it's a good thing we need to look at. I listened really well, and I listened pretty attentively. And I made notes about expenditure reduction, revenue enhancement, cutting back, reducing overtime, financial recovery plan, and all that, which is vitally important. I am concerned, as a citizen and as a council person, that we do cut our spending and we do increase our revenue. And I don't hear enough on increasing our revenue. That concerns me. And I'm concerned in the meeting we had yesterday when we found out, not through memo, not through the regular process, that this person was going to get an increase. So I kind of question the process. I know it came up, financial supervisor makes that tally. I know we struggled with our clerk. We lost our head clerk, and she had been working for a whole year. Then we put in for a small increase, and we had to jump through hoops to get that. So I hope that we do the right thing in terms of reducing our expenditures and increasing our revenue. And I'm hoping that at the end of August, when we get the assessment that you asked for, Mr. Frost, and hopefully Barbara's, the Buckley King situation, that it connects and we can deal with some figures, and so that when we go to 2016, maybe we'll have a lot of this worked out. And lastly, the merger, I looked at the document, and the document was confusing to me. I'm talking about the document that the mayor talked about in terms of merger. I read it, and I was at all the meetings, and it kind of made me think that it's pushing merger. And that's the way I look at it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Harold Williams.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
People. I wanted to ask the mayor a question, but I guess he's not here.
He walked out.
This was regarding the camera. I know that the state has made attempts to render this illegal in the state, but also he indicated that we're going to make some money from it. So I really wanted to get some clarification on that. And secondly, the way we seem to be planning to get the city back into order is true. Yeah, we reduce our expenditure, that's good. Increasing our revenue, that's also good. But seems as though that's kind of old. I do believe that we need to stimulate in other ways, some other contingencies to stimulate training programs, getting the citizens involved more in order to answer some of our questions that we have for the future, rather than taking some of the money that we might have and spending it on old stuff that we had old in the past. It seems as though we need to, start to think differently in terms of how we make different changes, and for long-term changes too.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mr. Struthers.
He got most of the questions I was looking for.
Okay.
And since the mayor walked out on you guys, I guess my question is, how does that make you feel when he walks out on you? He's done that many times. And a lot of times you snapped. Some people were really upset with him walking out. But how does that make you feel? Because he does that a lot to the citizens of East Cleveland.
I don't know how to respond to that, I guess. I understand, some of our folks on the commission have other duties and they leave. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. Apparently, if I hadn't thought about it, I guess it doesn't bother me. Do I think he should stay and listen to his constituents? Yeah, but that's not my call.
council president and resident of East Cleveland, these individuals that are up here are not elected.
Good point.
So, and they do have other jobs, and it doesn't affect them directly because they come to a meeting. But it affects me as council president and the residents of East Cleveland. And as I look at it, and as the mayor do it more and more, that just shows me the mentality of an elected official who should not be there.
That's right.
And I have all, that's the only thing I have to say.
That's great.
Yo.
And I didn't mean that to get a handshake.
No. No. We give to you.
There's no merger.
It's totally disrespectful.
That scribble can only be one person, Mr. Mays.
Oh, I'm gonna yield and now come back to me. I think her name is
Cassie Pitt.
Oh, okay.
So I just had sort of 3 quick questions.
Stand up.
Sure. So my first question is the commission aware of any similar cities that are similar to East Cleveland in terms of its, is that my question? I apologize. Okay.
It's on drugs.
Sorry. So is the commission aware, because the commission meets before all types of cities and villages that are in financial emergency. Are there any other cities that are similar to East Cleveland that have recently been released from fiscal emergency that might offer sort of a model of a type of financial plan? That's my first question. Second question is, the city of East Cleveland owns, depending on how you assess it, anywhere from around $350,000 to $500,000 worth of parcels. And with the $1 million grant from Cuyahoga County to demolish more land, they will acquire those parcels, and they have an opportunity to apply for another $1 million to demolish another 100 properties. So the city of East Cleveland is basically holding a lot of property assets in land. And so is that a source of potential revenue? Could the financial commissioner authorize the selling of those parcels? Also, it would reduce, if we have a tax burden that we owe, property taxes, that would reduce our property taxes that we might owe, and then increase potentially. So is that something that the commission could consider as an option, considering that East Cleveland owns all this property and that arguably some of this property is highly marketable? So just those calculations are based on the Cuyahoga County Auditor, the website where you can go and enter into the parcels, and it gives an estimate of what the properties are worth, but arguably the market rate might be much higher contingent on the property. So is there a way in which the city of East Cleveland could be forced or be mandated to sell those parcels as a way of generating revenue, considering that could be revenue both in terms of selling the parcels and revenue in terms of then whoever would own them would have to pay taxes? Then the other question I had, is the mayor the only person, so according to Ohio Revised Code, the mayor is responsible for submitting a financial recovery plan, but if the mayor is derelict in his duties, is he the only person that the commission will accept a financial recovery plan if, the council or private citizens group submitted a financial recovery plan that met the stipulations of the financial commission, would they be willing to review it or accept it, considering that if the mayor is derelict in submitting a financial recovery plan, is the city basically held hostage to the mayor's, whether or not he decides to fulfill his duties? So those are my sort of 3 questions.
We don't normally answer questions,
Oh, okay.
but I can address some of these, and I will. Are there any models out there? I would probably, and perhaps the auditors would, these folks only serve on this commission.
Right.
I don't want to hedge and I don't want to play around with words, I really don't. But it all boils down to if there are any other local governments out there like East Cleveland. And that's where I have a difficulty. There are common denominators that I see from place to place. One of the things that I see a lot of is a lack of capability. They don't have strong fiscal people. I see that particularly in small villages. There are some similarities elsewhere, but I honestly, I can't compare East Cleveland to any other commission that I've been on. They stand alone in certain respects, and those respects are very important. I mean, even in the Cleveland area, we can look at inner ring suburbs, for instance. Those inner ring suburbs have been studied probably ad nauseum, and there are similarities. Certainly outgrowth, people are leaving the central city, although there is some indication that they are moving back. They're not necessarily moving back into those inner ring suburbs, they're moving back into the inner core, into downtowns. With that exodus, we're looking at who doesn't leave, those that can least afford to, which basically are lower income or retired who want to live out their lives in their homes. Those are some similarities. But I hate to compare East Cleveland to any of those that I have seen before, because there are some unique traits to this city that I don't believe you'll find elsewhere. Now, that's not to say there aren't some cities that are more similar to you, but they've not been in fiscal emergency, or at least not yet. And only time will tell on that. The second, about forcing the sale, we can't do that. And actually, the city could sell it right now. The question is, do they have any willing takers? Are there developers that want to come in and develop? That's what the issue is there. One thing that I will leave you with, though, on the land issue is, I have a friend who works for a nonprofit. This nonprofit, well, he doesn't work for it, he's on the board of. And this nonprofit is looking to build in East Cleveland, and they're putting parcels together. Every time they go to put a parcel together, someone slaps a lien on it because they're owed money by the city of East Cleveland. So there is an issue with getting clear title to be able to sell the land. The third one, unfortunately, unless there's a law change in the revised code, the mayor does have to submit the plan. I have had other people come up to me and request that. I would certainly look at it. I just can't take it as a plan that would be formally discussed and voted on by the commission.
Madam Chair,
Until the law changes.
to the last question that she asked, I'm just answering your question.
Yeah.
Based on, about the council, we did submit a plan. And when it came back, it was one of the best plans that was out there, but it was not enough. Am I correct?
The numbers, the forecast or something,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
The forecast wasn't enough. We did do that, but it's not our position to do that, but we were just trying to be more proactive, dealing and working to make things go faster. So we did do that.
But you can do it again, too.
You can?
It has to go through the process, at least it has to be, the way the language is and what I have seen happen of it, I can't speak to the original intention of the law, because that goes back to, 89, 90, something like that, where I'm not sure, this was a whole new thing. It was when Cleveland was going into default. And so I think the legislature, I hate to use the term knee-jerk reaction, but I don't think they had very many models out there to pattern a law. So they did what they felt was best at that time. Situations have changed. I believe the original intent of the language that goes towards submitting the plan, when something like, well, what does a usual city do when they want to implement changes? Well, the administration can forward this change, or the city could, or the council could, but to make it official, it has to go through the legislative process. So a resolution or an ordinance would be passed, and then that would go to the commission. If the mayor should be derelict in his duty, what that would do, if we don't get a plan, we would then look at decreasing the spending in the city. So, for instance, a plan is due in August. If we don't get a plan in August, starting in September of 2015, we would look at the expenditures that were made in August 2014, I'm sorry, September 2014, and we would take that amount, reduce it by 15%, and that is what the city would have to spend in September of 2015. And that would continue until we got a plan. So it would be same month, prior year analysis of spending, and take 15% off of that, and that would be the reduction. I am not sure, because of the situation here, how much of a penalty that would be, simply because the city can't spend any more than it's getting in. So it can be and it has been a penalty in other places. But given this situation and the fact that, you know, they're looking daily when's the revenue's coming in, I'm not sure that that really is a penalty of sort. Unfortunately or fortunately, that's the only means that we have available at this time.
Madam Chairman,
Yes. Okay.
you ready for me?
There's nothing against
I
you
am
having an
always-
office appointment.
I'm always ready for you. All right.
And I'm gonna have to get on this president going out of here.
She's got an appointment, and I'm not going to give her personal business, but it really is something she needs to do.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
my first question is,
She's a woman.
were there a plan presented today by the mayor, which he is mandated, and I've been sitting here as president of this council, and we was mandated to submit a plan. If we did not submit a plan, they relegated us back to 85%, what you just indicated. And it is apparent to me that this mayor is doing everything he possibly can, and some of this council is supporting him in this endeavor to annex our city. And that's what he's sitting on and not doing anything. And I would ask this commission to be put a little more teeth in what you have, because the commissions that I sit on doing this is not the first time that we was under the auspices of the state. And I sat on that commission as president of the council. And we was mandated, and we did not follow get a plan and all those things that they asked us to do. They did not play with us. And that's how we came from under the auspices of the city. Then I hear about land, which you indicated. The city does have that authority to sell land. But it appears to me they give it to the friends for $1 or what have you, $100 or whatever. You can't buy no land, 30 inches of land for no $100 or whatever. This is what is going on here in this city. So, and I tell them they are helping to put the city in emergency. And then referring to the petition that is being circulated by the administration, it has 3 subject matters there. A petition must have 1 subject matter and clearly, plainly stated. That's what it has. It's not going to fly. Yes, he has a commission at the end of the petition. At the beginning of the petition, it's deal with annexation of of the city of East Cleveland, and there's another adjective it has in there about, and then the commission, appointing the commission is at the end of the petition. So that's confusing to the citizen. They don't know what they signed. They don't know whether they're signing for a commission, what he's out there advocating. It's a commission to do a study, which is a lie. And so it's irrefutable. It's irrefutable. Can no one refute that? And so what is being advocated here? It's not no commission, getting a commission. Something else I wanted to bring to your attention. Oh, about, and I know this does not fall under your purview or under the auspices of this commission. With the personnel person whom had been addressed here, I don't think the person has the qualification, because personnel deal with all kinds of matters, unions and contracts, and not only contracts, but monies that has to be sent to Columbus for, I can't think of all of the things
Health
now,
benefits.
but what have you. That, health benefits and all that kind of stuff. But the person is not qualified to do that. And just to jump up and put somebody in that position, I know it doesn't come under your auspices, but to put somebody in that position and then going to give them a raise or whatever, and does not have any personnel experience, I have a problem with that. And then
I gotta cut you off.
I'm going to, this is my last statement.
Okay.
When this gentleman here made a motion to go in annexation or whatever to be studied by the auditor or whatever, I don't know whether it comes under the auditor's purview as far as merger or whatever. It comes under the first it comes under, I guess, the state, which the the commissioners, representatives rather, I get it together, representatives or what have to vote on it. And what troubles me, and I cannot fathom this, maybe you can help me, because you're the president of this commission here. Maybe you can help me. I cannot fathom seemingly that this commission, and then I hear you sitting here, I guess on this commission as well, everybody seemed to be going in the same tunnel vision, annexation, merger, opposed to demanding a plan being presented here. That is what I'm getting from this commission. Seems like everybody agrees with that and what have you. And so you made a recommendation, and who seconded? He did. Before you can get it out of your mouth, he seconded. So I have a problem with that. Your responsibility is here to see that we come from under the auspices of the state and put a plan together to move this city forward. That is what you're charged with.
Right
You're
on,
right, sir.
right on.
That's right.
You know what? We don't have a quorum, so we're just going to disband. It's 2:30.
Okay.
Okay.
That's past my bedtime, yeah.
Patricia, how you doing?